Hi, I'm Georgia Lenheim, and this is my channel, Star Nectar Astrology, where we talk about all things astronomical or true sky astrology. Today is going to be a faceless video. So let's talk about the shadow of Jupiter in Gemini. Gemini is the wordsmith. Gemini is the living prayer. Gemini is the word of creation. Gemini is mutable air, which makes it more like consciousness and prana. It is the animation of form, making Gemini quite literally a spirit walker. Gemini reminds us that the way that we weave our words is the way that we weave our worlds. Words quite literally matter. They bring frequency into cohesion, and then the written word brings cohesion into creation. Literally nothing brings the invisible into form like writing. So Gemini is communication. It's the lungs and it's conversation, it's talking, but it's also the nervous system. So this communication of Gemini, it's words and it's beyond words. It's impressions, feelings, perceptions, noticings, telepathy. So we can say that Gemini is extremely sensitive. So then there's Jupiter. Jupiter is the great benefic. Jupiter is wise, deeply spiritual, wealthy, happy. So Jupiter will bring the best out of whatever placement it is in. But here's the other thing about Jupiter. Jupiter simply expands where it is. And so when it's sitting in Gemini, the mystic messenger, it's going to expand words, chants, mantras, songs, novels, self-help books, communication, and all these kinds of things, and especially via the media. So unintegrated Gemini, it's the misuse of words. It's chaos. It's the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, duplicity. And so where Jupiter expands, it's going to expand these unintegrated parts too. And we can see that this can happen, excuse me, very easily through the media. Now, just to kind of go into how easy it is to manipulate with just a switch of a few words, let's look at two sayings that often are paired with Gemini. So we often call Gemini the jack of all trades. And we do this in a way to mean like, oh, you're just a flit. Oh, you just know a little bit about everything. It's not grounded and it's not wholesome. But really it is the jack of all trades, but a master of none is oftentimes better than a master of one, which means that being multifaceted and well-rounded is actually oftentimes more necessary than being a specialist in one subject. Now, the other saying that often gets switched around is curiosity killed the cat. We know that Gemini is very curious because Gemini is so vast. When we say curiosity killed the cat, we're saying don't be curious, mind your business, stay in line. But the true saying is curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. So words truly do matter. So with the media, we are easily impressed through the flickering of light on the screen, the colors, the unnatural colors that are saturating our minds, the sounds that we hear, the cadence that easily hypnotizes, and the intention of what people are moving through the screen, through the space. And of course we know that media isn't a prime place for these things to occur. So some of the things I've been noticing since Jupiter came into Gemini is losing time while scrolling in a whole new way. I mean, sit down for 20 minutes and an hour and a half passes and you have no idea what you just looked at. I've noticed timeline scrambling. I saw a reel. It's really hard to explain what I saw. Each scene changed from one to the other in such a way By the time I looked up from the reel, when it was over, I realized, I said, oh man, this was a timeline scrambler. And I will say, in all honesty, nothing has been the same since. Entity attachments have certainly increased. So I'm going to share an experience that I had because I feel like it's important. I was watching a reel. I don't even scroll that often, but I do look for material for posts. So there it was. Sometimes it just happens. And I was watching a reel, and this woman was talking about energy vampires. And my inner self said, you really shouldn't watch this. When's the last time that you really did your spiritual hygienes? Like, you really shouldn't be watching this. And I thought, I got this. Well, after the video, I felt something on my back for 2 days. And it was really annoying me. On the second day, I had some balloons that I was blowing up for my son. As I was blowing up the balloons, I could feel the bad air leaving my body. My son popped one of the balloons and immediately started talking about vampires. He got sick that night and proceeded to be sick off and on for the next 3 weeks. So I share this as a way to illustrate how deep this really goes. So we do understand also sound. We've been aware of music and manipulation for a long time. Color and manipulation is a huge thing too. Everything that we're taking in through the screen is of a distorted color field. Along, of course, with our clothing, our cars, our homes. But we spend so much time pouring our eyes into these unnatural colors, and that is also having a profound effect on our brains. The way that people speak, this ability to become caught in the cadence and the pattern of speech is also something to be very aware of. Slang and the consciousness changes that it brings that are meant to annihilate the wisdom of those who came before. So these are some of the things that I've definitely noticed, and then we can't really have this conversation without talking about ChatGPT. Now, before I really go into this, and I'm going to preface this with saying I am not for ChatGPT. I know a lot of people will say, oh, but you're already using AI, and that's true. I'm here on these apps doing these works, but for me, it's like the difference between something that grew from the earth that you smoked and something that you cooked on a spoon that maybe you injected into your arm. There are spectrums, and it's important to know where you feel comfortable within these spectrums. So ChatGPT is the ultimate voice of God technology. It brings people into a place where they say, oh, I've never felt more present. I've never felt more met. But honestly, we are feeding it our sentience. And for me, I just simply have no desire to do so. When I see posts written through the voice of ChatGPT, my body rejects that voice. And while I do understand, of course, the amazing convenience of it, for me, taking in information in a slower way that builds in my brain and in a way that I can keep and that is mine is so much more important to me. So as I'm navigating through these things, some of the thoughts I have, what are the tones of our thoughts right now? Because right now is a very important time to really know your own voice. Do you know your voice? Do you know your tone? Because sometimes your own voice will be reflected back to you, but we need to know the tone of our voice. Spend some time journaling. Spend some time doing free writes. Play with your energy, move it. Write a poem, write a prayer, write your story. Keep a notebook. These things are all extremely important in respecting and maintaining the quality of the words within. So we also really need to tune into all air remedies. And so this is going to look a lot like proper breathing. Proper breathing is crucial. Most people breathe here I'll say this a different way. Most of us breathe too shallowly. Most of us have no idea how to truly move the air in our bodies. And whatever we are not occupying, we're basically open for occupation of something else. Getting into proper breathing technique is absolutely crucial. Smudging your space, the breathing, prayer, not smoking so much, working with garlic, coyote mint, and yarrow flower essences are wonderful. Yerba Santa is wonderful in terms of helping us connect to the heart through the breath. Citrine is a beautiful stone to make use of in terms of just repelling negative energy from the space, unintegrated energy from the space. Breathing, I'm sorry, I said breathing already. Sleeping is so important. Proper sleep times, working with the rhythm of the light. These are all things that are going to be extremely important as we navigate through this time. So I think that's it. Oh, one more bit. What did you love to do as a child? This holds core codes for touching in with the most authentic, organic being. The other question is, what do you do when you can't find agreement inside of yourself? This is the time of the twins, but some of me feels this way, and some of me feels that way. When you are faced with indecision between the twins, know that to move forward, the twins must agree. This is your still point of loving presence. The twins must agree. This makes the holy third and integrates the polarities. Alrighty, my friends, thank you so much for being here with me today. My name is Georgia Lenheim. You can find me here or on Instagram at Star Nectar Astrology, and I hope you have a beautiful day.